everybody go for it. So they came out on fire. Most importantly, so Washington play some defense. The second straight game and get it done. Kind of made a difference to me. Van Vliet went through it most of the night. Right after the night over the field. And that's it. Washington 119, 108. He made up for a game on Atlanta, game on Toronto. They played Toronto next on Saturday. Another opportunity to climb up the standings a little bit. And, I think they had the head matchup. They always start with you and you throw for the next game.
You said for me? I can't hear you. All right. Toronto just can't shoot. It's just as simple as that. They came into the game. They came into the game 27th in the league in three-point shooting at 33.5%. And also they struggle to get defensive rebounding. They're great offense. They're a great offensive rebounding team, but they struggle to get defensive rebounds, which is wild considering the players that they have. They ranked 30th in the NBA in defensive rebounding, 30.3. And the Wizards totally just took advantage of that. You know what I mean? That's their Achilles heel. Those two things are their Achilles heel, but especially because they can't shoot. And when you can't score, I don't care how great you are defensively or the potential you have defensively. When you can't score, it puts more pressure on you defensively. You get more deflated, and that's what you had. That's what you had. Then on top of that, the Wizards were scoring on them. They had spurts where their defense held up, but the Wizards were getting whatever they wanted against them, especially, honestly, from the opening tip. Like, Kuz went on a 10-0 run to start the game himself. And that pretty much set the tone for this game, and the Raptors were playing from behind from that point on, man. It was just a clinic. And you can't score the ball, especially in this league where the way it's wired down, it's hard to win unless you just ferocious defensively, like, fine, ain't nobody scoring. And no one in the league is that good right now. You know what I mean? So that's basically all you saw. We're going to try to overanalyze everything. They just can't hit shots from the outside. Like, look, Van Vliet. We talk about Kuz and his shot selection. Van Vliet, what, honestly, Van Vliet didn't even have bad shot selection. He was just cold. Like, a lot of his shots were wide open jumpers, wide open three-pointers in the corner at the elbow. He went 2-11 from deep. He was 5 of 17 from the big. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, when you got Porzingis and Gafford in there, the way Porzingis is kind of manning up and being more physical down the stretch in the paint. And Gaff always going for everything. For a miniature point guard like Fred VanVleet, man, it's hard for him. He can't just drive and go inside and look for something. He got to drive, get a paint, try to draw and kick. And, the Wizards did a good job again, getting back out, crowding the paint and getting back out. But it also helped that these guys weren't hitting threes. They shot 27% from deep, 9 of 33. So it made it easy for the Wizards not to actually have to get back out there too quickly. You know what I'm saying? Like, go ahead, y'all with us. Go ahead. You know what I'm saying? OG Anunoby. And honestly, OG Anunoby, he hit a couple in the fourth quarter. But outside that, most of the game, they can't hit nothing. So that's what it was, man. And then the Wizards they put on the clinic offensively. What they shoot? 51% from the field, 46% from three. And you can't score. You're gonna always lose those games, man. Oh yeah, shout out to Lon Wright, man. He ain't gonna get talked about. Kuz gonna get he gonna get the big headline because he had 30, rightfully so. He had a hell of a game. Porzingis, Gav, but we've been on them since the beginning, man. They needed this guy. Now it's for real. We know, and he not gotten hurt those 20-some games, the Wizards' record will be a lot different than what it is, man. Because he's the ultimate utility man. But he had 7 points. Only took 7 shots. He 3 of 7. But he had 11 assists, 6 rebounds, and 3 steals, and no turnovers. 6'5" point guard filling in for Monte Morris. Dog. There's a whole lot of teams in the league that would love that production, man. And he's a perfect example. Like, you don't need to score the ball to make a big impact and to dominate a game. You really don't, man. And then on top of the defense, think who he had to guard. Fred VanVleet. He was all up in him all night. You ain't getting off. Who else? Who else came in? Gary Trent 2 for 7. Will Barton, who the Wizards just traded, 0 for 2. The backcourt for the Raptors gave them nothing, and that's a testament to what the Wizards did defensively, man. So I want to make sure DeLon Wright get his props, man, because anybody just focus on the box score, who scored the most points. His production set the tone for everything that followed with the Wizards tonight.
Yeah, man. I was just glad to see that they didn't give the game back. They were in control for pretty much opening tip to final buzzer. They went up as much as 14 in the first half. Toronto pulled back a little bit. Typically what we see from the Wizards is they have hot starts and they cool off and allow teams to, reestablish control of the game. That didn't happen tonight, mainly due to the fact that Cardell pointed out Toronto couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, but the Wizards had something to do with that as well. They were defending. Then on offense, they didn't have those kind of WTF moments where they're just throwing up anything, and which are basically, some of those shots are basically live ball turnovers, which allow the other team to get out and run. And Toronto, how good they are defensively, the Wizards were still able to execute consistently throughout the game, and that just kept them ahead of the curve. We don't talk about Wes Unseld enough. When he does get it right, I think he called some timeouts at good points, when it looked like it was about to go kind of get out of hand. Like it was that stretch where Toronto and the Wizards was just helter-skelter all over the place. And, we saw Corey Kispert get the rebound, just kind of try to calm things. And then, then Wes called a timeout when they looked like Toronto was inching back. He got guys back in the game that needed to be in the game when, it looked like things was about to get out of hand. So, he's still really learning as well. So, it's good to see games like this when everything just kind of comes together. Yeah, man, this, it makes no difference to dwell on the past, but they could have been doing this for a lot longer, man. Like these last two games, solid wins that they needed, and if they continue like this down the stretch, they make their life much easier possibly heading into the playoffs. But yeah, man, just hoping they can keep this momentum going. These were two solid wins, that were pretty crucial in regards to the standings, and they got a chance to make up some more ground. So yeah, man, just it was a tough win. Guys up and down the depth chart contributed, and yeah, just yielded positive results for them.
For sure. Just for me to piggyback on what y'all said, I just thought it was a mature response. We've seen him at time this year win a game and then give a game up, especially the first half of the year. Last time I outlook, we were talking about that they can't afford to drop games right now, especially after dropping the two coming out the break. I thought it was a mature response. Obviously, Kuz got off to a great start, but yeah, I found myself just finding ways to tweet about DeLon Wright during that game. I don't know what else you can ask for from somebody at the one. Didn't turn the ball over, caused hell on the defensive end, and provide a calming influence more often than not. But again, just a good win in Cardell. I like something you said earlier, just get on Porzingis when he doesn't do stuff. I thought he did a good job being 7-2 at times tonight. It mattered because when they were out there throwing rocks up the basket, they did try to get into the paint. They just didn't really have too much success because of the height and the size of Washington. All right, player of the game, guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with Cool. He set the tone right out the gate. That's gonna run by himself. Let pretty much let everybody know he was on this game tonight. So they got a little sloppy in the fourth, but for overall, man, he had a hell of a night. Thoroughly outplayed. Shock him, another fellow all-star, a guy who got the all-star nod over him, all that. So I'm pretty sure that was on his mind to send him a message. Not him, but the league a message that I'm every bit as good. So he did that tonight.
Right. Any objections?
Yeah, nah, Kuz a solid choice, man. Yeah, especially the way he got the game started. And, like we always say, he was within himself. And even throughout the entire game, he just continued to be aggressive, put his head down and get downhill. And it it led to 30 points in the dub.
Right here. All right, X Factor, guys.
DeLon Wright.
I have to ask. I knew it was an easy answer. Felt like knew which way you guys were going. We'll get through some of these comments before we get out of here. As always, we appreciate y'all tuning in after each and every game. Truly do again.
You guys shout out Gaff though, man. Like
for sure.
We've been getting to it the last couple games.
For sure. We'll start over with Michael Kersey. So when he wants to, Kuz showed up tonight. I like that. Let's go, big win. He was agreeing with you guys. Kuzma player of the game. Shocker. He went with the right Gafford. He pulled the Ray. Couldn't make a clean decision. Said right Gafford X Factor. Can't get mad at you. Stephen Spotwood said, thank y'all folks doing a great job. Appreciate y'all for the great shows. Hey, we appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Some of y'all had the comments ready to go while I'm in here getting stats together. So shout out to y'all. Know that the show's going to happen. And for you guys commenting. We truly do appreciate it. Biggie Steve is going on, so got a little dicey in the middle of the fourth. Glad they brought KP and Kuz back with the quickness to get back on track. So a whole lot of people agreeing with y'all tonight, man. Look at the harmony in here of back-to-back dubs.
hey, man, it's go time part of the season. Fuck feelings, fuck how you feel. If you ain't producing, come sit with us. We get somebody else in. That's how it is, bro. It is. You don't want to be sitting. You want to be on the floor, produce. It is what it is. It's a very simple deal.
I feel like that's fair. I feel like it's very fair. Percy said, yeah, great show. Again, appreciate you. Biggie Steve, again, glad the Raptors pulled one of our moves and shot themselves out the gym with them threes. Toronto shot 9 of 33 from 3, 27% shooter. Thank you, Jesus, for reversing the roles. Now, at least y'all got to see what y'all be looking like sometimes. Like, that's crazy. Looks crazy, doesn't it? That's why we be mad, because that's what that looks like. It was at least 40 games of that this year. But again, positive vibes. Sorry. It's my role here. Courtesy said, West never gets enough credit. Our fans always thought. Like these two gentlemen said tonight, give him credit during the good. Because y'all definitely find a way to bring that man's name out your mouth when things ain't going right. So
and also early in the season, that's why we kept saying we don't really know what he could do as a coach because the players ain't handling their. You see now that he's getting maximum effort because it's the second half of the season and they playing for the playoffs, he can make adjustments. He can actually coach now. So we're gonna see how it keeps going and all that. This is what I'm saying. His hands were tied most of the season. Let's keep it real. Guys giving half effort, not defending, low management, sometimes seriously hurt. What can you do as a coach when you don't even know what you're dealing with every game to game? And you're not even practicing most of the season in between games. How you gonna correct things? So he's literally winging it, man. So it's tough for coaches these days, man. So you gotta keep that in mind when you criticizing them and stuff like that, man. Because like y'all said, it's never the same energy when good moves are made, when it's obvious good moves are made. Like when Ray said he called the timeout, when they were just going back and forth, just seemed like they were just trying to draw charges on one another, and the ball was going out of bounds, and they come back. It was just helter skelter, and he called the timeout like, calm down, dog. You know what? Y'all come over and sit with me. Like, we ain't about to get this game up, man. and had to press on me again. So that's how I went, man. But yeah, kudos to him. He did his thing tonight on the sideline.
yeah, there was definitely that 3-minute stretch of it was like 8 possessions of just trash basketball. And West was like, hold up, let's put some adults back in the game. Everybody take a deep breath. Let's not make this more difficult than it needs to be. Biggie Steve said 14 turnovers, a little sloppy, especially 5 of them were inexcusable dribbling in the traffic. Yeah. Also, Toronto's Toronto's long as hell on the wing. All right.
Yeah.
They might not have the size in terms of the bigs, but on the perimeter, bro, they was switching, and I felt bad because there was a couple times Brad was getting screens, and the defender grew in size on each screen.
Yeah, they long. That's why Bill had a tough night struggling. You can't beat Toronto if you don't hit jumpers. That's what they want you to do. But 14 turnovers is not that bad. It's really not, man. Kind of reaching with that one, just being real. And it's really the Wizards' average. You know what I'm saying? They're 15th in the league, so it's really it's just borderline. It's not it's not great, but it's damn sure not. We seen the Wizards have some 20+ turnover games, man. It was just like, what are y'all doing? What are y'all looking at? You know what I mean? So, and a few of them came during that sloppy stretch that Ray was talking about. You know what I mean? So, nah, man. All in all, they control the ball, man. They play pretty efficient, brand of basketball offensively for sure.
All right, Steven Spotswood said, do you think if healthy, they could be a second-round playoff team this year?
Baby steps. Let's take baby steps. Let's put some wins on the board.
Let's get to the play.
We going to look. Let's just deal with it right now. We're gonna go game to game. Baby steps. Gotta take baby steps.
Biggie C said Gaff was unsung hero. He was one of them. Yeah, him and DeLon heavily impacted this game on both ends. Michael Kirksey said depends on who we play. Got a solid enough core, but it's on health and who wants to play. And look, man, matchups are matchups. That's going to be the fun part. But again, you'd have a clearer picture if you didn't, what's the right way to say it? Do the opposite of what we saw the last couple nights for like 30 some odd games. You have a clearer picture of what's going on. Like Carter, you know what? That's a great baby steps the rest of the way.
Taking one game at a time.
Appreciate y'all. So Wes will get his credit when we're in the playoffs and not just the playing. Or I hate to be the guy, or you paying folks to show up for 82 games. When you out there, about you get the same energy that you've been given the last, 6 games for like the previous 30. We in an interesting place. Like we came out the All-Star break and just, we all respectively take our times watching the league as a whole. It has turned up several notches across the board. So again, if it's turned up across the board for the entire league, imagine, like some of the teams that are coasting, your Bostons, your Milwaukee's, because you took the entire thing seriously, it's a different world. But again, we appreciate y'all tuning in. They got the Raptors again on Saturday for this, so they got an opportunity. Even make up some more ground, as Ray mentioned earlier. But y'all have a great night, and thanks for tuning in. See y'all soon.